Y'all's depth issues on the defensive line?
Nah, they got their issues too. It's not like they're at full speed with all their guys in line. So, no, I don't feel that way.
How's Charles Mosley looking early on the front?
He's learning. He's going through a process right now. He's got to figure out how to sustain his effort, and practice hard. And he's got a lot of fundamental and technique things that he's just behind that. And but he's in there. He's working, and it's gonna be a process for him.
He looked like a guy who had to take last year off. Basically, couldn't even practice really.
Yeah.
Look rusty.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He looks rusty. He looks really raw. But he's a big body in there. We need him in there right now. So we're going to keep working with him, and he'll continue to get better. It's a lot for these kids. When they come out and you're throwing a lot of things at them. There's scheme, there's fundamentals, there's technique, and now they're got to play hard and run and turn and get back, and it's a no-huddle offense. So it's a good thing for them to go through, because I think it makes them better for the fall.
This first handful of practices, just who's caught your attention? Is there anybody in particular who's kind of stood out in terms of impressing you?
You said who's caught?
Just anybody who stood out. This
Yeah,
first handful of practices.
Up front, I like Shy. He's still, again, going through a process, but you can see that he's got some really natural ability as an interior defensive lineman. Andrew Butcher's done a great job. We've moved Chris Weathered to defensive end, and he gives us an element of speed off the edge, which is going to be important, moving forward and adding depth at the defensive end position. At linebacker, I think Cortez McDowell's been really steady and shown that he has a level of consistency that we can put him in the game and feel good about it. Kenny Bynum's done a really good job. Maven's done a good job. In our secondary, Rashawn Golden is really showing some things. He's really a tremendous talent. He's just got to continue to learn and grow. And then Stephen Griffin, another true freshman back there, shown that he has some really good athletic ability. And it's just going to be a process that these guys go through. We've held out Ladero and Brian. We haven't been repping those guys much. So it's a process, Coach, to say the least.
Is Rashawn's development, has that been really key to helping you use Cam Sutton in different ways?
Well, yeah, if you can develop Rashawn, if Rashawn's playing nickel, then obviously Cam's out at corner. But we know that we have to have a plan for if something happens to Rashawn, who's going to be the nickel. And so that's going to be Cam. And, when you bring a guy in, a freshman, you bring in these, we still have 3 corners that we're bringing in that'll be true freshmen. It's a lot easier for a guy to learn the outside than it is the inside, to learn the nickel position. So we're trying to take advantage of the time that we have right now to get Cam ready to go.
And getting faster back there has been a priority for you guys since you got here. Are you starting to see the fruits of your labor just in sheer speed in the secondary? Yeah,
there was a play Evan Berry made today that if he didn't have the speed that he has, he doesn't make it. Yeah, that one jumped out at me. But we still got a long way to go. Long way to go as a defense.
John, on Weathered, is it one of those things where you are just trying to experiment and see what he can do? I know last year you had a role for him.
You know what? He's gonna be like Kurt Magid. He's gonna play defensive end and then some Sam linebacker.
Is that part of his role expanding, or is something you're gonna keep the same from last season? Where he kind of had that package where he came in.
Yeah, no, I hope his role expands. That's going to be on Chris. But he has shown some things that, his speed and quickness is a benefit, just as long as he's can hold up, on the line of scrimmage as a defensive end. That's really going to be the question for him. He's got to get bigger and stronger.
How dynamic is he as a pass rusher? It looked like last year, even when he didn't always know what he was doing, he gets around the edge really quick.
He gives you, he can make up for things that happen out there. I forget what game it was. It might have been the Kentucky game, but we were spying him on the quarterback, and they threw a screen, and he just ran out there and made a play on it. And so those are the things that he gives you. It's just, like I said, as a defensive end, he's got to be able to hold up over tight ends and offensive linemen.
How about the finding depth at linebacker? How's that process coming along? I know it's still relatively
Yeah,
early in
you know,
spring.
those guys have been kind of up and down, and you know, we just got to develop some consistency at that position.
Just the defensive front, you guys have obviously been challenged just with the amount of bodies. How has that process been going, just to conduct a practice with as many?
Yeah, it's challenging. Like, you can't roll guys in. You don't have certain packages. Like, we don't have a goal line package right now. So in our offense, they're practicing goal line, and we don't have goal line. But we're not going to use anything as an excuse. We've got to improve with the guys that we have and continue to get better each and every single opportunity that we have, whether it's in the film room or on the practice field or in the weight room. Just everybody has to continue to work.
And huge opportunities for Vickers and Nixon in those two spots up front. How have they been taking advantage of it? 2 weeks.
They need to do a better job. You know, they got to show that they can be more consistent. They're making some mistakes. I think Mixon, you know, because he played D tackle last year for us, he's out there at defensive end. So there's some things they just got to try and figure out, you know, with the position change. And then, you know, Vic had a great offseason. It's just got to, you know, transfer to the field now.
That inside linebacker position in particular, you got Gavin, Kenny, and Dylan Bates. How's that shaping up?
You said Gavin.
So just the inside linebacker battle in general.
Yeah, those guys are all getting reps. They're doing some good things. They're just really inconsistent. You know, they got to become more physical. They got to become more vocal, and so it's going to be challenging for those guys as we continue to move through spring.
Is anybody kind of emerging as a number one option there?
No, I would say nobody's really separated themselves right now.